Welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Tuesday, 27th June 2017. I'm Fredicia Liebert.
The baton, of course, arrived in St. Kitts Nevis on the weekend, and yesterday started its two-day journey around the islands. The baton, of course, was presented to His Excellency, the Governor General, being the Queen's representative, and then, of course, His Excellency handed it off to the Commonwealth Games Association officially for the relay to start. Also there at Government House, an award was given to Keith Heiliger. Keith Heiliger, athlete, administrator, volunteer par excellence from the early years, and one of the persons who was very instrumental in starting the St. Kitts and Nevis Commonwealth Association back in 1978. So that we were happy that His Excellency was able to present the award to Keith.
Vice President of the St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Games, Dennis Knight, was accompanying the Queen's baton and its delegates from St. Kitts to Nevis to take part in the historic Queen's baton relay. The team arrived on Nevis at 7:45 a.m. at the Charlestown waterfront when opening ceremony was held. The delegates and athletes from Nevis made their way to the Alexander Hamilton Museum grounds, where the relay began. Exchanges were made at the Wesleyan Holiness Church, the Right Excellent Sir Simeon Daniels bust, Courthouse Building, El Cemido T. Willits Park entrance, and culminated at the Bath Hotel and Bath Stream. The delegates, including the Director of Sports on Nevis, Jamia Claxton, and athletes, were driven to New River, the Nevisian Heritage Village, and finally the Botanical Gardens, where a small ceremony was held. Honorary Legal Advisor for the Commonwealth Games Federation, Sandra Osborne, said what she saw today demonstrated what the Commonwealth Games stands for.
What we saw today demonstrated what the Commonwealth Games stands for. The baton relay is a symbol of the Commonwealth Games, which are held every 4 years. And whenever those games are held, we reach out to the athletes of the 70 nations and territories of the Commonwealth to come together in friendly and peaceful competition. The baton and the games symbolize more than just competition. They also represent a call to all of the nations and territories of the Commonwealth to come together to celebrate our diversity and to show that through inclusivity that we can all be one and as a part of this modern Commonwealth.
The relay is held every 4 years and features the Queen's baton, which bears a message of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II visiting former British colonies on its way to the host country. The next Commonwealth Games will be held in April 2018 in Queensland, Australia. The Queen's baton's next stop is in the island of Anguilla. The St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Service is hosting its 15th annual Summer Safety Program, which begins on Monday, 3rd July and concludes on Friday, 7th. Fire officers stationed at the Vance W. Amory International Airport, Raymond Beaucaire, spoke about the purpose of the program.
We have been seeing the dramatic decrease in the amount of fires, children-based especially. I mean, it is summer, the children are home and bored. They don't have nothing to do, so they will go and venture and do the wrong stuff. So by educating them before the summer really gets hot, we could actually try to save lives and property.
Coordinator of the program, Fire Substation Officer located at the Vance W. Amory International Airport, Mavis White Archibald, says the 15th year will see some additions.
Because this is our 15th year, we are having it for 5 days as opposed to 3. And so that's why the additional sponsors, and we want to have something like we never had before. We kind of want to put in a little hike and a search and rescue event for the children to be a part of this year. So I am just asking for them to come out.
White Archibald also spoke about what will happen at the end of the program.
what we do between day 1 to day 4, we looked at the 2 children who most grasp what we are teaching. And those 2 children who excel, they would go to St. Kitts to be a part of that program in St. Kitts, where they would be given an additional gift, a plaque, or what have you. And those 2 children would be our fire chief and our deputy fire chief from our program in Nevis.
She said forms can be collected from the fire station in Charlestown as well as the various schools. With just 84 days to go before the Federation celebrates 34 years of independence, William V. Hodge, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Chairman of the Education Subcommittee for Independence, officially launched the theme competition as a way to get citizens and residents alike to utilize their creative skills, in particular the young people. The deadline for submission of entries is Friday, July 14, 2017. Late submissions would not be acknowledged or considered. All entries must be submitted in writing and sent via email, postal mail, or dropped in a drop box at the entrance of the government headquarters located on Church Street in Basseterre. The chairman shared the guidelines for the theme competition so as to give participants a better understanding. The theme must be short, fully expressive and memorable, and certainly no longer than a sentence. Composers should be able to craft the theme within 6 to 8 words. The theme should encompass the general development thrust of the country and must consist of an internal rhyme scheme and rhythm that will enhance the slogan. Permanent Secretary Hodge said that his ministry will be playing an integral role in Independence 34 as Cabinet decided that this year's celebration will focus on the Federation's youth. A maximum of 2 submissions are allowed per person, and every submission must be new and original, as old and plagiarized entries will result in immediate disqualification, he added. Entries can be emailed to william.hodge@moeskn.org or independence.themeskn@gmail.com. If participants are using the postal service, entries must be addressed to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Church Street, Basseterre. Still to come, National Testing Day takes place on Friday, 30th June. The details when we return.
If you like dancing and whining and fretting till the morning, if you like drinking, masquerading, live music always playing, if you like islands of blue seas where people always smiling, if you like street jams and bandstands where people will be jamming, don't you miss this time, no. In this country, I'm a 43. Our festival, our legacy. Don't you miss this time, no. In this country, I'm a 43. The Caribbean's greatest summer lion. Don't you miss this time, no. Our festival, our legacy. Don't you miss this time, no. The Caribbean's greatest summer lion.
Welcome back. The High Command of the Security Forces updated the Minister of National Security, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, and members of his cabinet with respect to the state of law and order in the Federation and the initiatives that have been put and are being put in place in order to reduce and prevent crime at a meeting held at the St. Kitts Marriott on June 24th. Commissioner of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, Mr. Ian Quealy, who led a delegation from the policing organization at the strategic and tactical levels, said that the Federation on a whole has made significant strides for the year thus far with respect to an improved crime detection rate in general and in particular with homicides when compared to last year around the same period. The police outlined a number of measures that are to be pursued with renewed energy and consistency over the coming days, with ongoing collaborative efforts which will take place with strategic units of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force. The police remain confident that with greater support from the public, better results will be achieved. The police also updated the cabinet about its draft strategic plan on the disruption and displacement of gangs. Key institutions represented at the high-level security meeting included the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force, along with the Coast Guard, led by Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Wallace, Customs and Excise Department, led by Comptroller of Customs, the St. Kitts Nevis Fire and Rescue Services, Her Majesty's Prison, led by Superintendent of Prisons Junie Hodge, Brams Hill Police Advisors Limited, led by Steve France, Sergeant, the Forensic Services Unit of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, led by Mr. Naras Ramnarine, Financial Secretary Mrs. Hilary Hazel, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Osmond Petty. On Friday, 30th June, the Ministry of Health will host its annual testing day beginning at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Administration Building's parking lot. Education and Prevention Officer in the Health Promotion Unit, Nurse Eldina Farrell, encouraged persons to get tested.
Well, the Health Promotion Unit under that theme is trying to get persons to know their status. So we are encouraging persons who have never been tested, persons who have tested before, but presently, based on some of their behavior, may be querying their status, to come in and get the test done. Anybody who never had the test or who have had the test before and have a reason while you're sexually active, you should have the test. We're also encouraging the young people to come out and start becoming accustomed of incorporating that as part of your annual screening, getting to know your status.
She also explained the testing process.
The test is what we call a rapid test. What you do, you come in, you'll be given a number, no one will take your name, and then the young ladies in the reception area, reception/education area, will send you to a counselor who is available. So we will have 10 set up with counselors providing privacy, so that we can ensure confidentiality.
Of course.
So they will be within those 10s. So you will go to the counselor, have your pre-test counseling, which is very important, and then you will be sent to the lab. We'll have an on-site lab, and they will draw the blood sample after the pre-test counseling. When the lab is finished with that, the result will go back to that counselor, who is the only person other than yourself who would know your number.
This year is the 10th anniversary of regional testing and is being held with the theme, Are You Positive? Are You Negative? Nurse Farrell extended another invitation to persons to come out and to get tested this Friday, June 30th at the Administration Building's parking lot in Charlestown. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Fredicia Liebert. Thank you for viewing.